Well, hello there, motherfuckers. I want to take the time to alert people to a series that might have been overlooked, and you could get this series on Netflix. You could watch it, and you could appreciate it for a great show that it really is. Now, many people, well, a lot of people like it. I personally don't. Twilight ruined, ruined the mythos of vampires and werewolves. Two great horror creatures, two great things in the world of horror and monsters. And they just fucking slapped a big fucking turd right on top of those monsters right there. Completely ruining decades of great movies based on these characters. Stephanie Myer, that fucking whore, that motherfucking bitch of a motherfucking cunt ass, ruining vampires and werewolves for many, many people. Many, many fans of horror, including myself. I was horrified. Horrified at her version of horror, whatever the fuck that was supposed to be. Completely Stephanie Meyer pulling down her fucking granny panties and taking a big motherfucking sloppy ass shit all over the great mythology of werewolves and vampires. And then you had a great show come along. You know, many people will say True Blood rectified the situation. I haven't seen everything there is to see of True Blood. What I did see, I did enjoy. I need to watch more True Blood. But another show that maybe not as popular as True Blood, maybe not even as close to being popular, but maybe even better, I feel, is Being Human on Sci-Fi. That right there is one of the best portrayals I've seen of vampire and werewolf that I've ever seen, really. I mean, the thing is, you care about these characters so much. I mean, you hear the title of the show, Being Human, and you really appreciate these characters even though they're not really fully human. They may look like humans, but they're not. At least not completely. And the thing is, this is another show where the acting and character development takes precedent over everything else. You love these characters. And if you don't love them, then you probably don't have a heart. You feel for these characters. And they even throw in one other supernatural horror element where you get another character, a ghost, a female. Actually, one of the few female characters in a show like this with these types of characters that you can actually appreciate and get behind, and they don't demean the female character. Aiden, Josh, Sally, all of them portrayed to absolute excellence. You got a vampire, a werewolf, and a ghost. Like, how can you feel for any of these characters? They're all, all these things, these supernatural elements, these horror characters. How can you feel? How can you empathize, sympathize for any of them? And the thing is, they all have their same. They all have pretty much the same thing. They don't really like what they are, and that is a really interesting element. They've never really, well, they've done this before in the case of the Wolfman and everything, but never like this, where it's a real struggle and like they just bring it to a whole nother level. Basically, Aiden doesn't like being a vampire. He doesn't want to hurt everybody. After centuries and centuries of sucking the blood of innocent human beings, Aiden wants to live in society in normalcy. He wants to live there with his roommate. He doesn't want to drink the blood of others. He doesn't want to cause a stir like he did over a century ago. So basically what he does, and this is a spoiler alert to the extreme. So if you haven't seen the show, don't watch. Just watch it. You know it's a good show. you're at least going to walk away thinking it's a decent show. So don't watch beyond this point if you don't want extreme spoilers. He has to rely on the blood from the hospital in which he works in to feed. And it's not the same type of pleasure he gets from drinking blood from a human being itself. So this is definitely an interesting element. You've got Josh, who's a werewolf, who's in a relationship with another female who he turns into a werewolf. And this just brings about so many interesting elements. You've got Sally, who becomes a ghost prematurely. She's murdered at a young age. And this is just an amazing way to go about things. There's so many interesting elements, all these different origins and stories and different problems. I mean, these protagonists, they're interesting characters, and they have interesting, unique problems, like problems that most humans, most people such as myself never would face. And that's what makes this show beyond intriguing, beyond interesting. And these characters are so likable. They're lovable. Without being pussified or anything like that. They found a way to make these characters make you care about them. You don't hate Aiden because he's murdered like thousands of people by sucking their blood and turning them also into undead vampires. You don't hate Josh for being a violent werewolf. You don't hate Sally for haunting a house in which she previously lived in. You just have to see this show to really believe what it's all about, and it's definitely worth a look. I mean, this show's incredible. And it also has a great comedy element. If it's not a horror element to it, and it's not a comedy element to it, there's an action element to it, and a drama element. It's got all fucking genres mixed into one. It is the perfect melting pot. I've never seen anything like this before. I mean, a show that mixes so many elements and restores the integrity of horror characters such as the werewolf, vampire, and ghost all in one fucking show. An incredible show. Definitely, I have to say, whatever means the DVDs, Netflix, whatever you got to do to watch it, I say watch this fucking show. If you love horror and you love these types of characters, these monsters, you will love it. That is a guarantee. All right.